You probably have seen this going around, making the rounds. It's WatchMojo's top 20. What's this called? The top 20 strongest Genshin Impact characters. We're going to leave the music on because we've got to talk about what that even means. Let's look at the description. Genshin Impact is designed around ultra powerful characters. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're oh my goodness, I've watched too many WatchMojo. Oh no, WatchMojo, hell yeah. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our top picks for the most unbeatable characters in Genshin Impact. Our countdown of the strongest characters in the game includes a lot of characters that get SEO optimization. Who's your favorite Genshin Impact character? Let us know in the comments below. Cool. Let's not look at the comments. So, what does it mean to be a powerful character? Arlecchino is really powerful. Currently holds the #1 spot for the World Level 8 Leeway Boss speedrun, held by yours truly. But when you go into like the actual power of characters, Zhongli killed gods. Neuvillette is the Hydro Dragon. If you didn't know this stuff and you have spoilers, I'm sorry. I am not sorry at all. But then Navia, are you looking at, like, when you say most powerful, you have to kind of pick lore, meta, like what teams. Are you going to argue that a good healer is more powerful or stronger, a stronger character for somebody's account? Well, there's just so much that we have to kind of pick and choose here. I'm interested to see what they do with it. This is a 20-minute video. We might be going for a while here. I thought this was going to be a short stream. I'm a liar. Let's get into it. Let me know if this is too loud, chat.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're ranking the best characters in Genshin Impact. We'll be
I love this man's voice.
Units who deal high damage, buff and heal party members.
This quality, I need to change it. Oh, 720, rip, 1080. I'm recording in 1080 now. Makes me happy. My videos will be hard quality.
And have longevity in Genshin's ever-expanding roster and world.
Oh, like another thing, I'm interested to see how Xiangling ranks on here because I watched a video which is pretty darn accurate, how everything was an indirect Xiangling buff. Even Kinich is a Xiangling buff. Snowboar mentioned, Snowboar King mentioned. Hog.
Number 20, Kokomi.
The character that can't crit. I mean, can, but negative 100% crit rate kinda do hit different though.
It makes sense that someone responsible for keeping so many people happy has one of the game's best healing abilities, to the point where she can sometimes overheal.
Is he referring to the artifact set that deals damage off of overheals? We'll see how the rest of them go, but like just from that description, it seems like lore is counting into it a little bit. Kokomi losing value, needs too much time on field, yeah. Someone who watches this video might think, oh, Kokomi is top 20 and she's on banner. Maybe I should pull for her, but like she doesn't fit into the meta. We're talking minutia here, losing time on field or spending so much time on field.
Elemental skill that easily applies Hydro, meaning she can act as the solitary Hydro unit on certain teams.
Okay, I'm gonna nitpick the shit out of this. Who uses her skill for Hydro application? How many enemies are so stationary that you can? The fact that her skill does not move, that's what makes her healing not completely overpowered, because you have to stay within. And then on the other side, if she had some kind of mobile application and healing, literally just Hydro Kuki, that would be cracked. And it would also kind of have too much overlap with Nilou. It'd be weird. You can argue that every character has potential to stars line in the future. Yeah, like, what is this team? Looking at the side here, yeah, Yelan is good for a Vape team and Kokomi is a decent support because double Hydro ups your HP. But then for Yoimiya and Hu Tao, they're both on-field DPSs that want to be taking advantage of Yelan's burst. You can't do that. You can't do both. Yoimiya and Hu Tao both lose their infusion or their pyro application when you switch off of them. Like, Yelan's not an on-field DPS really until like C6.
Plus, the skill's duration can be refreshed by Elemental Burst.
Okay, but that's not a... I'm sorry. Hang on. Hang on. Okay, so for this boss here, the Hydro application eats away at the bar the same amount no matter how powerful your character is. People like Kokomi in the past enable their faves like Ayaka. That's fair. But like, does the community liking a character because they enable other characters to be good, does that mean that they're strong in this list? They haven't established, like they need to have pre-established what a strong character is, and they just did not. But like I was saying, this Pyro bar here is kind of like a shield. You have to damage it with Hydro. You can damage it with other things. Maybe Dendro doesn't work. I found that out the other day. If you have a really strong character that it deals the same amount, like puts the same amount of Hydro on the enemy, elemental gauge units, that's a theory crafting thing we're not going to get into. It doesn't matter how built their attack or their stat scaling is. A level 1 Kokomi and a level 90 Kokomi doing one normal attack will deal the same amount to the shield, because it's not really a shield. It's like a certain number of units that you have to put on there. Kokomi dealing damage. Now, Kokomi can't crit. She has a negative 100% crit rate out the box. So in order to get her to crit, you have to do what on other characters would be called overcapping. Because when you get a character to 100% crit, 102% doesn't make them crit harder, because crit damage is its own thing. So crit rate, if you go over 100%, it's overcapping. But Kokomi, technically, you'd have to get 200% to overcap, because she has negative 100%. If you get her up to past, if you have like artifacts that get you over 100%, then she actually hits 1%, 2%.
Solitary Hydro unit.
Let's look how much damage she's doing.
Plus, the skill's duration can be refreshed by Elemental Burst.
Okay, so this is the same team. I'm trying to see. She's dealing 20k, level 93, 30k.
Number
Maybe
19,
she's better than I thought.
Xingqiu.
What? How did he say that?
Number 19, Xingqiu.
Xingqiu. It's Sing Show. I know he's been getting shit for it. We won't complain too much about it here. Xingqiu is a really good character.
Mischievous Xingqiu is a 4-star Hydro Sword character and the second son of the guild manager of the influential Feiyun Commerce Guild. The Avid Reader's elemental skill provides multiple elemental particles, can grant additional defense, and inflict Hydro on close opponents.
Okay, that's not half wrong. Oh, Xingqiu being so low? Xingqiu is literally one of the best units for any account, especially if you're a low spender or free to play.
In-game description reads that he yearns for justice and fairness for all, but he also has a rebellious side and is sometimes at odds with his family over his commitment to the guild.
Was that the reasoning? That was the reasoning? Oh, no way. He literally just said, oh, coordinated attacks and defense buff and Hydro. He didn't say enabling one of the best reactions in the game, Vaporize? He ranks him top 3? Absolutely. Zajef, I'm pretty sure, like with how deep Zajef gets into theory crafting and energy recharge and fab and attack percent circlets and stuff like that, I think he caters a bit more to the free to play, which is amazing. Having a free to play catering theory crafter, I feel like he's pretty reliable with a lot of his information. I mean, he's part of, he's a contributor in KQM, which is one of the biggest theory crafting communities for Genshin. Yeah, that's literally. Oh,
Number 18.
I disagree with the entire premise of their ranking of Xingqiu. The fact that they didn't even mention why he's good. They didn't mention his meta viability at all. They talked about how Kokomi is a good healer, but they didn't talk about what Xingqiu excels at. With like 2 minutes of Googling, you can figure that out.
It's time to introduce you to my latest
Xiangling being so low is 100% wrong.
master.
This is 100% wrong.
It's the most marvelous, multicolored super camping.
Okay, he's probably gonna mention this, and we're gonna pre-snipe this.
Come on, get them.
She summoned this little bear eating a little chili pepper named Guoba. Technically, that's a god. That's the stove god.
Zhangling has significant AoE elemental burst damage, with her elemental burst Pyronado having powerful pyro application on foes. Even when elemental burst gets swapped out, it retains its damage buffs. Zhangling,
Okay, so they do cover something meta and theory crafting related.
as she can snapshot his flat attack buff so that she can use
Yes,
her
we're covering-
burst while he is also active.
We're covering meta here. We're literally covering how Xiangling, the minutia of how Xiangling's burst is as good as it is, but we're not mentioning Xingqiu's Vaporize support. Yeah, that makes sense.
Number 17, Risley.
What? Why does this feel like it's coming out of left field? Let's just go.
Risley, a 5-star Cryo Catalyst character, has one of the darkest backstories in Genshin Impact. For this, he was exiled to the fortress of Meripede as a teenager, but he turned pain into power, becoming the fortress.
Yeah, just like the pop-up says, subscribe. YouTube, I love you. Subscribe. I love you too, Twitch. Love you all equally. I'm a good parent.
His administrator and serving in an aspirational role amongst his fellow prisoners. Wriothesley is best utilized in melt or freeze teams as a main DPS.
Not wrong.
Constant cryo usage is helpful for elemental reactions like freeze.
Not mentioning how he's the #1 ice bridger in the game. That absolute missing.
Skill. Additionally, Wriothesley can self-heal if his health falls below a certain threshold. And the fact that he can ice bridge across the water makes it easy to get
perfect around. He did mention ice bridging. That's good. I just pre-watch. If buffed correctly, that burst can one-shot the geohypostasis. Fun fact. They mentioned what comps he's good in, but not what comps Sing Show is good in.
Number 16, Baizu.
What? Who is Baizu here?
We must admit though, if our physician had green hair, an albino snake around their shoulders, and aspirations of immortality, we'd probably feel slightly intimidated.
I'd feel intimidated more by this snake than anything, but like...
At our medical appointments. Baizu, the guardian of Kwikwi and owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy.
What was that? Run that by me again.
Baizu, the guardian of Kwikwi and...
Kwikwi. That's what we're gonna call her now. I pulled a Kwikwi.
And owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy is a 5-star Dendro Catalyst character utilized best as a support. Thanks to his elemental skill,
that's true.
Baizu offers substantial party healing. In addition, his burst deals off
the healing's okay.
Dendro application, and his HP scaling is beneficial to both his Dendro buffs and healing.
Also, his shielding didn't cover that. Maybe not yet. Maybe pressure point. I love his animations. Okay, didn't mention. We're on Kenich. Okay, yeah, didn't mention his shielding. Didn't mention his hyper bloom potential. His total Dendro application. How Dendro is one of the best elements in the game. We're missing here. We're missing like every shot we're trying to take here. Every single one we're missing.
15. Kenich.
Kenich is a new character. Pretty darn new. Came out a month ago.
When a character has a grappling hook in his arsenal, you know you're fighting with someone cool.
Grappling hook only good in one nation, one region, when there's 4 others. 1, 2, 3, 5 others. I mean, it's decent in other nations, but you only get the full benefit in one. Kind of sad. That makes him tough to rank, because if everything here is based on that one, kinda, I don't know.
Besides the swinging mobility, Kenich is an ace with the claymore and an athlete that other athletes aspire to. As a proud member of the Scions of the Canopy, exploration and adventure run through his veins. He's capable of spins and mid-air strike attacks, always choosing a practical killing stroke over pretty battle choreography.
Non-optimal Kenich play right there.
Kenich makes for a strong Dendro DPS with great overworld traversal, who's incredibly fun to play.
Bro, 5 seconds of gliding, peak gameplay. Didn't even mention, what's his name? I don't know how to pronounce it. Ajah? Didn't even mention. Cool, good to know.
Number 14, Chlorind.
Okay, this has to be lore-based. This has to be purely lore-based.
Chlorind is renowned as Fontaine's strongest champion duelist. The lightning-quick damage dealer...
Pog, strongest duelist, has to go on the list because she's the strongest. Copium.
Deals fast electro application with her elemental skill and...
Superconduct with Diona. Choices were made.
Her augmented elemental skill allows her to choose between remaining in place or swerving across the battlefield, making for a quick and unpredictable
That burst, though.
With
I love that burst animation.
Access is gained to healers who are able to counterbalance the duelist's bond of life acquisition. Chlorind can also self-heal using Impale the Knight, which provides her with spectacular self-sustain while running 3 buffers with only a tiny amount of risk.
3 buffers. Okay, hang on. Let's see what the team was. I wasn't gonna nitpick the team, but I want to see. Chevreuse, Fischl. I guess Overload is a good team, but this isn't Spiral Abyss. This is one of her banner trials. I don't know how I feel about that. You can't take the banner trials as the trial run. You can't take that as a comparison of who they are. It's just not a good barometer, especially for your account. Chlorind should not be on this list.
Number 13.
Hu Tao is one of the most powerful pyro nukes in the game. How is she 13? I say this as someone who puts Arlecchino over Hu Tao every day of the week. That ends in Y. But the fact of the matter is, the person that I'm going back and forth with world records, back and forth, I get it, they get it, I get it, they get it, uses a Hu Tao team. There's a reason she's good.
But given she's one of the most potent pyro characters, it's more likely she's cremating her enemies.
One of the most potent pyro characters at 13 on the list, was it?
What she lacks in diverse AoE abilities, she makes up for with stupidly lofty damage. She also buffs her team members' crit rate and increases her own pyro.
She buffed crit rate? Am I crazy here? I didn't know that. Oh no, called out, fake player. This guy knows more than me. But talking about incredibly high damage and is not one of the strongest, like not even in the top 10. Can't believe it.
Damage the lower her health gets. Imagine being so powerful that you have to be careful not to destroy yourself.
I mean, it's not incredibly difficult to manage.
After all,
I mean, you can grab a shielder.
we'll have coupons for you.
Number 12, Shilonen.
Shalon, okay, wait a minute. Shalonen above Hu Tao. Shalonen directly above Hu Tao. The implication. I'm just trying to hype it up. That makes no sense.
Shilonen knows how to come prepared for a fight, and she's got the artifacts set to back that up. Her arsenal allows for plenty of build options, and she comes with formidable rapid strike and forward kick abilities.
Technically speaking, Shalonen rap better than Hu Tao rap, so I understand why she's ranked higher.
Aside from that, Shilonen works great as a healer, but her real power is in her elemental skill that massively buffs your team's elemental damage by shredding enemies' elemental
Let's put
resistance.
Ayato on
This
screen.
makes her one of the best support characters to date and an asset to any team she's a part of. Strong, sexy, well-equipped, and fun, Shilonen
Sexy, mention, just making sure we're all on the same page. Based take, whatever we think about the rest of this, based.
Number 11, Yelan.
Yelan doesn't make the top 10? Dude be taking fat rips before picking the next character on the top 10 list, man. Next up, he's going to say, number 10, Bennett. The community hated him when he came out and didn't use him because he was a horrible character, only to find out later how good he is. But because he wasn't respected, he's so unlucky. He's number 10.
Gotcha.
Also, if he said Shalonen was sexy and does not say Yelan is, we're going to take away that based.
Mystifying, bow-wielding intelligence agent, Yelan is a 5-star Hydro character who alleges to work with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. She's great for overworld exploration with her stealth running elemental skill, and her elemental burst is able to increase the damage of an active character by firing Hydro attacks in tandem with them.
There's so much to cover there. We're just going to drop this here. We're never going to mention it again. So anyone's going to have to watch this far into the video to see it. Yelan is why I downloaded Genshin Impact the second time when I actually started playing it. And I got mad because they run ads after the character's done on the banner to get people to download for those characters. I played Genshin Impact in earnest because I wanted Yelan. Amazing character. That's totally why. I can't remember exactly what he said because, my brain. Her talents are of great use whenever your main DPS are experiencing downtime. I guess because you get that energy recharge, you get quite a few particles. Her best in slot weapon is a free-to-play weapon that you get literally just by playing the game, the Favonius Bow. The more refinements you have on that, the even better. She gets a whole lot of energy for your team, and she really works well in really energy-hungry teams. I guess her skill can do decent damage if you level it up.
She's great for overworld exploration with her stealth running elemental skill, and her
Exploration's
elemental
good.
burst is able to increase the damage of an active character by firing.
Okay, her burst. We'll let him get through the whole sentence here.
And her elemental burst is able to increase the damage of an active character by firing Hydro attacks in tandem with them.
Her burst is able to increase the on-field character's DPS by firing Hydro attacks in tandem with them. Wrong. She's able to do both individually. Her burst increases your on-field character's attack or damage, I forget which, based on a percent of her HP. That goes up over time. So the farther into her burst, the more of a buff you get. And then she also deals more damage. She deals damage with coordinated attacks. So she doesn't up your character's damage by those coordinated attacks unless we're talking elemental reactions, in this case Vaporize, where she reapplies right after you vape. So it's got Hydro on the enemy, you hit with Pyro and Vape, the Hydro reapplies, deals a lot of damage, and then the Hydro's already back on again for the next Pyro hit. They do a really poor job explaining this. Yes, I'm a little verbose, but at the same time, cover it a little bit.
Number 10, Mualani.
Mualani above Yelan? If we're talking meta viability, I guess Mualani doesn't even have her full range of supports yet. She's waiting for the Pyro Archon. Honestly, maybe even the Pyro Traveler. Wait to see what their kit is. Probably horrible, but yeah,
Mualani is a 5-star Hydro Catalyst
King
character
10, maybe.
and the proud owner of a water sports shop.
Wipe out!
With the proper setup and timing, she's one of the greatest single-target nukes in Genshin Impact. Sharky.
Talking about best single target nuke in Genshin Impact while fighting 3 enemies, that's a ballsy decision.
The source of her damage comes from Mualani's own HP, which can be stacked effortlessly with weapons, artifacts, and leveling. Or even Hydro Resonance.
Hydro can be stacked pretty... HP can be stacked pretty easily Not with her best in slot artifacts though. Like, I mean, you have to farm for them. It's not like you can just throw any artifacts on her. And, I mean, she's decent. I guess she is pretty good. But when you talk about, oh, and then Hydro Resonance, no, you're getting a lot out of Hydro Resonance. She doesn't have great supports yet. Like, Toma is a decent support for her, but like, you have to mix in normal attacks. Literally doesn't talk about her damage scaling and how cracked it is. Good to know. Good to know.
Here we are.
Number 9. Raiden Shogun.
Raiden Shogun being number 9. I think number 9 could fit pretty well. I think she would probably fit somewhere between 9 and 7 for most people. Can deal a lot of damage if you build her right, put her on the right team, but she's kind of niche because you need her artifact set, which is, it's okay. It's a really good artifact set for a lot of characters. Her weapon, she has a decent free weapon if you're going to go fishing. Her weapon, if you wish for, is got on a lot of characters. Her teams, Raiden National, it's a bunch of easily obtained or free 4 stars. Raiden sucks at the DPS without C2, like really bad. Here's the issue when it comes to talking about how good a DPS is. There's 2 sides to that coin. When compared to other teams, yeah, I'd agree with you. But when it comes to how much damage you need to actually be effective in game, once you hit, let's say 10,000 DPS, 10,000 damage per second during your rotations or your DPS phases, it's just how quickly you kill an enemy. At that point, it's like how much fun you're having. I made a video about it. When you hit world level 8, you only really need 4,000 to 5,000 DPS to be effective. It takes a while to kill bosses at that point, but that's like the baseline. It's the bare minimum that I would say is good.
The Electro Archon and God of Eternity, who is eternally badass. With a high energy recharge rate,
eternally badass, but only number 9 on this list. Bro's gonna Omega Glaze anyone above this level.
Number 8, Alhaitham.
The mountains.
Oh, I can see it.
The birds.
Alhaitham's pretty darn good.
A Dendro Sword user from Sumeru, Alhaitham is a mighty damage dealer and flexible character who can execute every Dendro-related reaction on field.
Every Dendro-related reaction on field. Hyper Bloom? Maybe we're just picking at words. We're splitting a hair there. Maybe. The thing with Alhaitham is that you have to really manage his mirrors well to get the best rotations out of him by mixing your skilled charge attack and burst. Burst gets 3 mirrors and that's the maximum. So once you use your burst, you need to play into using him on field until all the mirrors are gone to get the max out of that. Using your skill, you gain 2 mirrors. If you already have 1 mirror, you only gain 1. But if you use his charged attack, he gains a mirror. So if you use his charge attack before his skill, you get 1 mirror from his charge attack and you only gain 1 from his skill. If you use his charge attack after his skill, you get 2 mirrors from his skill and you gain a 3rd from his charge attack. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. He's picky about optimal rotations, especially when it comes to Dendro applications and DPSs in general. There's easier ones to play. Once you read through the kit and you understand how to maximize his mirrors and what rotation you need, it's more about having characters that have uptime on those enabling reactions like Fischl, Miko and her turrets, maybe Yelan and her burst, to make sure you're really taking advantage of the full mirror time on field.
Number 7, Zhongli.
Zhongli being at 7 is straight up wrong with how they're ranking lore into it. Watch him say Zhongli isn't higher on the list because he's poor. He has no money.
The Geo element saw one of the most significant damage buffs. And of course, what other Geo user would you pick to have in your party than the vassal for the Geo Archon himself, Zhongli?
Zhongli not number 1 because of summoning his pillar and accidentally climbing it during combat, lowering your average DPS. I would say that if I made this video. Chat, should we make a video parody of this? Think it would be funny? Do the exact same characters and then just give total bullshit reasons? I think it'd be hilarious.
Petrifying enemies with his elemental burst while creating shields to buff your HP, plus draining elemental energy off his enemies so he can repeatedly deal damage over a huge area? Damn, Zhongli.
Unironic 20k HP Zhongli. Only talk to me once your Zhongli hits at least 40k. I think my highest I got my Zhongli was 57. Zhongli lower because of co-op non-C6. Zhongli lower because he doesn't shield in co-op, doesn't heal.
Number 6, Bennett.
Bennett at 6? No way. Who's above Bennett? If Bennett got knocked down because he's unlucky, I swear to Geo Double D.
That's gonna hurt in the morning. Yeah, let's light it up.
Was that C6 Bennett?
Skill, which is a low cooldown period that makes it possible to spam his
Yep,
elemental
C6
burst.
Bennett.
That's
Doesn't
gonna
even
hurt in the
mention.
morning. Yeah, let's
Doesn't even
light
mention
up.
it. Imagine one of the 5 not being on the list. Kazuha, Farina, Nuvalette, Arlecchino, Nahida. Venti wasn't mentioned yet. Yo, Venti not being in the top 20? Kinda based. If
Number
true.
5, Nahida.
Nahida, okay.
It was
I think number 5 for Nahida is pretty
my
decent.
birthday.
The 5-star Dendro Catalyst character is the best Dendro applicator and, as a sub-DPS, deals considerable damage, particularly with C2.
More enabler than sub DPS, but a minutia aside, great for any Dendro reaction you need.
She converts Elemental Mastery into crit rate and damage, which makes her highly...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Converts Elemental Mastery into crit rate for herself, specifically her Trikarma Purification. Not for other characters. That's misleading. That's fucked up.
Damage, particularly with C2. She converts Elemental Mastery into...
Why are we mentioning constellations? Yelan higher with C1, Raiden higher with C2. Like, why does her constellation matter? Yeah, she does buff way better. She works way better at C2, allowing her like hyper blooms and burgeons to crit. Yeah, you can't talk about her dealing damage considerably more damage with C2, and then put Wriothesley so low on the list and not talk about his constellations. Putting Hu Tao low on the list and not talking about her constellations. You can't put Raiden and not talk about her C2, but then suddenly Nahida's number 5 because of her C2, or partly because of it. No.
It also lets her more easily gather materials in the overworld.
Yep, that's why she's number 5. That's why she's so high on the list, because she can gather materials in the overworld really easily. He might mention it here. I'm just gonna go ahead and mention this. Her skill connects enemies and can reapply Dendro to them when you do a reaction to one of them. That's cracked.
Her Elemental Burst are granted a massive Elemental Mastery bonus, raising the efficacy of a team's Dendro reactions.
Doesn't even mention why her skill is unreasonably cracked with that massive Dendro application. Cool. He mentions at the very beginning, oh, this character can each wield a claymore like a boss. Obviously paraphrasing or saying something very similar, but doesn't mention that Nahida's only really as good as she is as the on-field driver because she's a Catalyst character. Catalyst characters inherently have that je ne sais quoi, you know, because they apply their element. You don't have to worry about cooldowns.
Number 4, Furina.
No way Furina's number 4. Who's above her?
Best utilized in a support role, the complex Furina de Fontaine is a 5-star Hydro Sword character who has been praised for her mental fortitude.
We're going to be pausing at anything I disagree with here, because Furina is peak. I'll throw hands with anybody who disagrees.
In her Usia form, Furina has solid damage scaling and an elemental skill that can be refreshed over and over. She also provides an excellent damage buffer courtesy of her fanfare mechanic, so long as a
Mentions one form but not the other.
healer is present. HP drain for Furina's party members results in interesting ways of playing with HP fluctuations.
Didn't mention that at C6 she becomes Hydro infused and can be an on-field DPS. What kind of tier list is this? Come on. Doesn't talk about her straight healing on one side and her walking on water on the other. They mentioned Wriothesley's an ice bridger. Didn't mention that she has infinite water walk.
Number 3, Arlecchino.
Arlecchino too low. Just saying it. Saying it right now. Arlecchino too low. Cringe.
Head of the House of the Hearth and 4th of the 11 Fatui Harbingers, Arlecchino, codenamed the Knave, is a 5-star Pyro Polearm character best utilized as a main DPS.
No C1. Immediately lower on the ranking because C1 is not active.
Father, as she is called by the members of the house, who she, in turn, calls her children, is a self-sufficient character who can be paired with a shielder or a team with 3 buffers.
A shielder or a team with 3 buffers. How about... Oh, he didn't even mention Zhongli buffs your team with his shield. Arlecchino and Furina so close because the ship? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, by the rest of how this is ranked, yeah.
Allows for simple character building due to the extremely high raw scalings and many buffs that are included in her kit. This, plus her simple, low downtime combos with steady DPS, makes dispatching enemies a joy.
Didn't even mention vaporized teams? Didn't even mention burning teams? Didn't mention artifact flexibility? Didn't mention wielding a scythe, honestly.
Number 2, Kazuha.
No, who's above Kazuha here? Nuvalette? Oh, he's number 2 because he dodged that.
Wandering samurai to have on your team.
If he was number 1, he would have multi-classed into monk, you know, a D&D class, grabbed it and thrown it back.
Karehara Kazuha certainly slices through the competition. Upon his release, Kazuha quickly became the most desirable damage-dealing Animo party member.
That's a lie. Everyone said he was horrible. 5-star sucrose. Just straight up fake news. Spreading falsehoods. Shilonen's so low, but Kazuha's so high. Oh, I bet this is because Shilonen needs 2 characters of the same element, huh? That's it. That's got to be it.
Can basically do what Venti can, but more affordably, efficiently.
Can do what Venti can, but more affordably and more efficiently. Do we agree with that? Yeah, he can do more than what Venti can, because he can CC Samurai and Inazuma.
His passive swirl damage as a sub DPS also makes him an excellent support character. So
His passive swirl damage from his skill makes him an excellent support character. Yeah, that's true.
when you're trying to maximize damage on a DPS team, Kazuha will always be one of the best contenders.
Kazuha will always be one of the best contenders. Mono Geo would like to argue. Wanderer Hyper Carry would like to argue. Xiao would like to argue. Hyper Bloom would like to argue.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
That's right, YouTube. Click that subscribe button and that like button and that bell button and the buttons. All the buttons. Click the buttons.
Number 1. Neuvillette.
He's OP because he can taste the differences in water.
A Hydro main DPS character best built using charged attacks, 5-star Catalyst user Neuvillette is
Best built using charged attacks, only built using charged attacks. I'm sorry, if you're doing normal attack Nuvi, what are you doing with your life? Yes, easiest DPS, getting stronger still. Yeah, that's fair.
His charged attacks have high scaling and a fast tick rate, which means they can potentially deal significant damage.
Doesn't spin to win, not a real gamer.
Who's your favorite character in Genshin Impact?
Like to dislike. 1.5k likes, 2.7k dislikes. Holy shit. It's a 1 to 2, just like your crit ratio. Fringe list, we all knew that going in, so it's WatchMojo, and it's a very niche thing for a very, very big community. Putting Neuvillette at number 1 is very safe. They tried to nerf him, but the community fought back. Neuvillette at number 1 is a safe play, and I don't respect that. I appreciate you guys watching WatchMojo. Thanks for providing us some memeable content. I hope you all had a great time. I know I did, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Adios. See you later. Goodbye.